Hi everyone, welcome to the Winter Games Coaches Meeting for 2016. Please save the dates of February 27th and 28th, and we have a lot of information to share with you today. This is Lori Jean Hannon, and as the staff each come in to talk about their sections, everybody will introduce themselves. One of these days, you should probably know all of us, I would hope. So any questions, we'll go through that at the end. But this is our annual meeting, and we welcome you to the fact that you've signed on with us today. So this video, as we've done now, this is a full circle that we've done for a year. This video will be up on the website until the Winter Games. Once you complete the video, you'll see at the very last slide, please click the box there so that we know that you've watched this. If you can't get to the meeting this way, you can also open it in a PowerPoint format on the website, but if you watch it that way, please let Lauren Young know that you have seen it so that we know who actually has gotten this information. And as I said before, contact information for any part of the presentation is listed at the conclusion. One of the things we are now making sure we put in here are the comments and recommendations from the previous year. So these are the things that were presented to our department through the SurveyMonkey after the 2015 Winter Games. We do the best we can with trying to make some of these changes that are recommended by those of you out in the field. I share all these comments not with our staff, not with only our staff, but with our staff, with all of the committee members, and I really need everybody to understand that everybody takes these things to heart. So just know that we do appreciate the comments and the feedback, and please make it constructive and positive anytime you put it in there, but we'll do whatever we can to fix things. We do have a lot of information on Winter Games this year because of some new venues, so some of the recommendations that had come in last year won't apply, but these are the ones that we felt were the ones that we really could work on. We'll make sure that there's venue diagrams in for cross-country skiing, and you'll see some of that later on in this presentation as well. The committee is working on the schedule. It's really hard for them to juggle some of the races, but we're going to try very hard to not have back-to-back events or have things go off at the same time. All areas of the competition will be marked out, especially because it's a new site. We'll do a better job with volunteer orientation so that they know how to put on and take off snowshoes. You'll see later on that we're going to ask coaches for some help with this as well. We also know that sometimes our volunteers don't necessarily listen to the athletes, and our athletes know better than any of us what it is they need to do or want to do. And sometimes the volunteers were not sure what their assignments were, so we're going to definitely have the committee do a better job of that. Some folks wanted us to distinguish when an athlete might need to have a coach nearby. We do this at summer games, so we'll try to think of a way of maybe possibly putting a red dot on the bib if that will help at cross country and snowshoes. And we will definitely, again, try to work on that schedule so that events are not back-to-back for the athletes that do that all the time. Over at floor hockey, some folks asked for a specific address for the hangar. I'm going to try to get that for you, but honestly, it's set inside the complex of Pratt & Whitney, so they don't have a street address. So we'll see if we can map it out a little bit better in the directions that will go out in the coach's handbook. I think the committee will try their best to, if they can hand out some medals earlier in the day on Sunday, they will do that so that teams don't necessarily have to stick around. They shouldn't have to wait for all the games to be done to do that. And the officials will definitely be watching for high sticking and any other penalties that happen. Alpine will have a new venue too, so really scheduling is still being worked on, but the committee will take a look at maybe because intermediate is just so big, they might have to split this into the 3 groups that were suggested by the comments here, possibly doing one group going off at 10, another at 11, and another at noon. So stay tuned for any of that information. And we will try to have as good a PA as we could possibly have for the opening ceremonies at Alpine. Speed and figure, can the length of the day and time be shortened? Not really. It's all due to the timing and the contract that we have with the skating center as to what we have for availability on either one of the rinks. So we'll see what we can do. Maybe we can work some races out so that when people are done, they're done earlier, and then people may not have to start till later. I don't want to tell you something that I can't pull off. So just, again, hang tight and we'll do the best we can with that. We know that the space for awards is tight, regardless of whether it's speed skating or figure skating. The only way we would ever get around that would be to put it outside, and I don't think anybody wants to do that. So it's worked for the last few years in speed skating with only ushering in so many people at a time with the families of those that are up on the podium. I think we really need to try to do that at figure skating this year. And again, those awards will be upstairs for figure skating. Olympic Town needs help over there. We know that, so we're going to work with Katie and our volunteers to see if we can find a group who will just kind of come in and oversee some activities at the skating center. We had that in the past. Maybe we can get some of those folks back again. As far as the hotel and evening entertainment, this person said we should rethink the movie, and she's right, because I think there was 2 people watching it and then they got bored and walked away. So we will offer one this year, but we'll try to see what we want to do with that, if it's even worth putting one out in the hotel. And we know that at both the locations for housing, whether it was Glastonbury or Farmington, the hotels need to be a little bit more in tune with trying to keep your groups together. So Lauren will be working very hard with those 2 facilities to try to make sure that you guys are accommodated to the best of their ability. And then in general, we were asked to make sure we CC the coaches on any emails that go out to local coordinators about any paperwork or registration. So we will try to do that. So make sure we have your email, folks. That would be very helpful. Okay, so our winter sports this year, all the same sports, but different locations. So Powder Ridge Mountain Park and Resort in Middlefield will now be the home for alpine skiing and snowboarding for this year. Many of you, if you've been involved with us in the years past, you've been with us at Powder Ridge. They have a new owner. They have a whole new layout. Some of you go there for training now. So we're excited that they've welcomed us back. Ski Sundown was a great place for us. We loved being there, but they have asked us to consider a different location for this year. So we did set that up with Powder Ridge about 8 months ago. So we're locked in for that. Eversource in Windsor is now the new location for cross-country skiing and snowshoes. Really easy to get to, and we have a lot of information we'll share when we go over that one. Skating Center of Connecticut and Simsbury, same location. Pratt & Whitney, East Hartford for floor hockey, same location. Again, the hangar is located within the complex for anybody who might be new to that sport. Brand new sport that we've added to Winter Games this year is gymnastics. So we're hoping that some teams, programs may be interested in starting a new sport, maybe especially for people who weren't necessarily involved with Winter Games before. And that will be at the Farmington Valley Gymnastics Center in Plainville. And then we have other additional sporting opportunities that won't take place during the winter, the weekend of Winter Games, but will definitely be in season. So traditional basketball in Waterbury and unified curling, which takes place in Bridgeport. Now I'm going to turn it over to Lauren.
Hello all, this is Lauren here to talk to you about housing and the dinner dances. We will be using the same hotels as the last couple of years, including the Farmington Marriott, the Hampton Inn in Farmington, the Homewood Suites, and the Hilton Garden Inn in Glastonbury. I will be working on emailing room configurations out to all teams. If there are any teams who have not had housing in the past or need additional rooms that you know of this year, please let me know as soon as possible. I would like to avoid any bumps in the road as we move on to reserving all the rooms. The banquets and dances at the Farmington Marriott and the Hilton Garden Inn in Glastonbury will be oldies but goodies theme, and the movie in Farmington will be Frozen. As discussed earlier, I will work with the hotels to try and make sure that all teams are on the same floor as much as possible. And we're also asking for the dances that chaperones for each team be more aware of athlete behavior at dances. Please make sure that everyone is behaving appropriately and according to the athlete code of conduct.
Hi, this is Sarah to discuss alpine and snowboarding. As we mentioned earlier, we are at a new venue this year. It'll be Powder Ridge Mountain Park and Resort in Middlefield. Otis will remain our sponsor. And again, I am the point of contact for Alpine. My email contact is up there. It's sarahp@soct, or you can reach me at extension 229. We will not need a shuttle service this year. All vehicles will be able to park on site, which is very exciting. Training sites have been set up at Mount Southington, Powder Ridge, Mohawk Mountain, and Ski Sundown. Please make sure that all your athlete medicals are up to date and that all your volunteer coaches have current Class A's and protective behaviors before the season begins the week of January 3rd. Thanks. Super G is the best of 2 runs, while the slalom and giant slalom is combined score of 2 runs. And anyone who disqualifies will receive a participation ribbon only. The registration in the food tent will be at the base of the mountain. Again, a layout map will be included in the coach's handbook, and any updates and additional information will be shared with you guys from me, so just keep a lookout for some emails. Thanks so much. Alpine coaches training will be addressed later in this presentation.
All right, guys, it's Lori Jean again, and I'm back to tell you about cross country and snowshoes in Eversource. I did already mention it was a new location. As I said, very easy to find. Our point of contact will be Rebecca Gherkin. Rebecca is still out on maternity leave, but she's due right after the first of the year, so she'll take over the information for cross country and snowshoes, so watch for any information coming from her in regards to this venue. You will be allowed to park 1 vehicle on site, as you have done before, but we do need to still have an off-site parking area. Right now, I'm working with trying to get the confirmation from Pratt & Whitney Wood Group, which is also located on Blue Hills Avenue. It's literally less than a half a mile down to the Windsor site. So should this location change, I will definitely keep you posted. But we'll have, by the time the coach's handbook comes out, you'll have lots of information specifically as to where to park all other vehicles. There will be a one-way direction for all traffic entering the facility. Folks will be directed to enter on Blue Hills Avenue and exit on Day Hill Road. And again, even where the exit is, it won't take you very long at all to get back over to the parking lot. Tent City this year will look pretty much the same as it has before. We'll have the large lunch tent, the awards tent, and then the photo tent, which is actually volunteer registration, then it turns into the family photo tent after that. Lunch will run from 11 to 1:30 because some folks had asked us to make it 3 hours in length because they thought the lines were long. They won't close this lunch line until they're sure everybody has eaten, so everybody should just be aware of that as well. Tables and chairs will be set up in the lunch tent this year, so you will have an opportunity to sit at a table and not have to juggle your lunch in your lap. So the only thing we're asking is that once your group has finished, is to please move out of the tent to allow for more teams to be able to come in and have that availability as well. Inside the building will be athlete registration, Olympic Town, and medical services. But when you're inside the building, everyone, all of us, community staff, athletes, chaperones, everyone is asked to please stay within the designated perimeters of the available space. And that's because it's a working site. There will be people in Eversource working, covering their own jobs during the weekend. So we do not want to be over on the side of building where all that's taking place. Opening ceremonies will stage for the parade in and around the large tent area, and it will take place in the open space area, which I'll show you a map in a few minutes on. Dependent on the snow and the course layout, because again, it's all brand new area for us, we will try to do waterfall start lines with curved courses for the relays. So athletes should be trained for a staggered start and should be trained to stay in their lanes. If you register someone for a snowshoe walking event, remember it's walking only, and we all know a lot of our athletes get very excited when they're supposed to be walking and they'll take off running. If you think that's going to happen to any one of your athletes, please register them for a running event because they will get disqualified in the walking, and it has happened. Co-ed heats may be developed as needed because sometimes our numbers may not be where we'd like them to be. So be aware of that, and if you have someone in a co-ed heat, they will be going off at the same time as any male heat. If you disagree with a race official, please remember to use proper etiquette when addressing them. We've had some not so great comments being passed to our officials, and you know what, remember they're just volunteers too, and that a lot of that has to do with the walking and really some of the athletes doing the right event they've been trained to do. We will provide overnight ski and storage area. We're trying to get one additional pod on site so that we can lock up everything for you so you don't have to lug everything back and forth to the vehicles or to the hotel at night. And just a few more things here. One coach per team is asked to please assist their athletes with the snowshoes. If you feel like you can instruct a volunteer how to do that, you don't have to stay in that area, but we wanted you to know that it was okay to be there for that. We'll make sure you have competition area maps the day of and once the snow is made and the courses are laid out. In a couple of slides here, you'll see the annual application for the Bud Myers Award. Please think about nominating someone for this for good sportsmanship, and you'll see all the details on the application, but we'd love to have more than just a few folks be nominated for that. We will do a coach's walkthrough this year. We kind of thought it might be helpful for all of you, whoever would like to come out on Saturday morning, February 20th. I'll meet you out there at the Eversource building, and we'll show you where everything will be laid out. We'll walk through the building. You'll get to know where Olympic Town is and all the layout in the parking lot. This is also the morning that we expect the snowmaking process to be taken apart, and we thought it might be kind of nice for those of you who have never actually seen that process to get a better feeling for what some of our volunteers have already done for the 2 months leading into these games. So again, if you can mark your calendar for Saturday, February 20th at 10 a.m. You can park on site for that meeting. This is just a simple layout of what we expect to happen. The food tent will be on one end of the parking lot and a big open spot to the left of the food tent where we will do opening ceremonies, but then it will also help us with staging for some of the events, because up in the upper left-hand corner is where the actual competition will be. And there's not as much real estate on land there to be able to have people standing and waiting to start as we've had in the past. And again, you can see from here, this is what they're looking for staging and whatnot. So we'll have these maps laid out in the coach's handbook, and I'll have copies with me when we meet on the 20th. This is the application for the Bud Myers thing. So again, please consider nominating someone for that. Now I'll turn it over to Rachel.
Hi everyone, I'm Rachel. This year for Winter Games, I'll be taking over figure and speed skating. And that will be at the International Skating Center of Connecticut in Simsbury, same as last year. Again, I'll be the contact. There's my email address and my phone number if you have any questions. Figure skating awards will be upstairs, and like Lori Jean mentioned before, it does get a little crowded, so we do ask that families be in the area only when their son or daughter is receiving an award, so we can accommodate everyone in such a small, tight space. And then again, music for figure skaters does not allow vocals. And I'll pass it over to Lauren. Hey guys, Lauren again here. I am stepping in for Katie Dennett in floor hockey this year, which will continue to be hosted at Pratt & Whitney in East Hartford. My contact information is available if needed. The Unified Divisioning Tournament will be held on Sunday, February 21st, so please remember to mark your calendars. We're planning on an 8 a.m. start, and we are planning to do unified teams only, unless we get more traditional teams to make it better. Teams should all plan to bring a bag lunch, or you can also plan to purchase lunch from an available food truck on site.
Okay. And now let's talk for a few minutes about our newest thing to Winter Games, which is gymnastics. I mentioned before, it's going to be held at the Farmington Valley Gymnastics Center in Plainville. We have a student intern who will be coming in from Springfield College. She starts with us in January, so Carly will be overseeing that event, but you can call on me or anyone else in the sports department for any information. It will only be on Sunday. It's pretty much going to echo what we've had at Summer Games, but now we're just moving this event to the Winter Games. So it'll be Sunday morning, February 28th, 9 a.m. registration, opening ceremonies, competition, and then awards and lunch. There will not be a qualifying event for this particular sport at this, probably going forward, we're not going to hold one. And I just want to let everybody know there was a few reasons why we added this to gymnastics. Why we added gymnastics to Winter Games. We were having some issues with the equipment that we needed at Summer Games, so by putting it right into a facility, our athletes are going to be able to really have a phenomenal experience because it's truly a gymnastic center. We don't have to be moving stuff back and forth. We also wanted our athletes who were in this sport at Summer Games, the majority of them had asked, I really want to do a different sport at Summer Games. I'd like to swim, I'd like to do track or whatever, so this will provide them that opportunity to do that. And it didn't affect anybody who was already in Winter Games. Gymnastics, as we've learned when we move this, is truly a winter sport anyway, so this should work well for all of us. And we are definitely looking for the potential growth of this particular sport. If anyone is interested, I have the music and the video that will help with anyone who might want to do some rhythmic gymnastics. So we can also help hook you up with some local gymnastic centers. Plainville itself is interested in seeing if there's any athletes who live near them. They will start a program for Special Olympics, not only hosting the event, but trying to train people as well. Okay.
Hi everyone, Sue Moore here. I'm excited to be joining you at a traditional basketball tournament. The event will be held on March 12th. We will be in Waterbury, and as I said, it is a one-day event this year. I know there was some talk about maybe making it a two-day event, but mark your calendars for March 12th. I have sent everybody an email that has participated before in the past, asking for their numbers and the age groups of which your teams will be participating in. If you could get that back to me for planning purposes so we can see how many courts we need and what we want to do for basketball this year, that would be greatly appreciated. Also, if you know anybody or if you would like to help in planning for 2017 and beyond, we'd love to have you join us. Please be sure when you do registration that you're determining what your age groups are going to be prior to doing your registration.
It's me again, Lauren here, and we have Unified Curling coming up again this year. We have a few teams who currently participate, but we are always looking and have room to grow the sport. The curling club that we compete at is the Nutmeg Curling Club in Bridgeport, and at this time that is the only location that we are involved with. The first curling practice will take place on January 9th, 2016 at the Nutmeg Curling Club. The final Bonspiel date is yet to be announced, but will likely take place shortly after Winter Games. And again, please contact me directly via my email, or you can give me a call. My extension at the office is 272. If you have any athletes or unified partners who are interested in taking up curling, we would love to have them.
Hello, Katie Femiak stepping in here for Caitlin Dacus, who is entirely too busy to be here because she's in Costa Rica right now. So coming up for the Winter Games, she's going to have health promotions activities at Eversource in Windsor, at speed skating at the International Skating Center in Simsbury, as well as at Pratt & Whitney in East Hartford. So watch for the coach's handbook where she will have more information about what's going to be offered at each venue. Thank you. Oh, and if you want to call her, look right there. There's her contact information. Her extension is 238.
Hi, everybody. Registration, everybody's most favorite topic. Winter Games Intense is up on our website, pardon me, and that is due by the 16th of November. December, pardon me, again. So Alpine, I think everybody who's doing Alpine has already touched base with Sarah, so you should be all set there. And the registrations for the balance of Winter Games is due February 3rd. We're giving you a few extra weeks for basketball. That will be due on the 11th. And everything is up on our website currently, except for Alpine, because we don't need that up there. And you can continue to send emails to the registration at soct.org website. And all insurance requests still go to Lauren, and our coach's handbook will be up at least 3 weeks out from the games. So our intent to participate, you're going to find on our homepage under forms, and it is the same for every year or every season. And you want to be sure that you're including all of the sports that you're doing. And then all of our Winter Games registration is also available there, as well as all of our athlete forms and partner forms, all that stuff, all up on the web. So when you're doing the intent to participate, we're getting some teams that are still sending in more than one intent. When really where you see where it says number of events, if you are doing cross-country, snowshoes, and alpine, or you check 3 events, and all those fields will pop up, and you can just populate them all and get us that information in as soon as you can.
Okay, Katie Femiak back. Oh, and look, there's my contact information before anything else. Okay, so I apologize to those of you who've seen this slide like maybe 3 or so times already, but I just kind of wanted to go over everything because a lot of this is new since we last met with the winter coaches a year ago. So I just want to point out that we have new Class A forms. There's a form for adult and a form for minor. They're separate now. We are, as we have been, working with a new background check vendor. It's called Verified Volunteers. And the new background checks are more thorough, which means they take more time. So on average, a clean criminal history will take 24 to 72 hours to come back. So this means that I will no longer be able to process any last-minute forms, which includes group home staff changes. So I really prefer that you send things in and give me at least a week's lead time so I can make sure that it's done in time. So I also like to point out right now that we've had a couple issues in the last seasons where we've gotten paperwork super late, and then I've found criminal histories and I've had to kick somebody out, and we've had to do it the week of an event. And that's just, not only is it unacceptable, but it makes for a very awkward situation as far as getting it done prior to the event. We potentially have had people who are actually volunteering with our athletes when they shouldn't have been. So I just want to stress again, like we've said before, we need to get this information before somebody starts participating with us. Okay, so thank you for that. In reference to reference letters for our minors, we are no longer requiring separate references for the minor Class A volunteers. There'll be 2 references that will be built into the body of the new Class A form. So make sure you're using that new form because it's easier. Protected behaviors is only required for people who are 18 and above. It used to be 16, so just you don't have to do that if you're 17 and below. And I also have a web version of the Class A form as well as links to rescreen people if they're a returning volunteer. So check on the website for that and give me a call or an email if you have any questions. Thank you. And here is Rachel again. Okay, it's Rachel back to talk about the coaches' education and training. So coming up, we have on Sunday, January 3rd, there's an alpine ski training at Mohawk Mountain. And you can contact Sarah with any questions regarding that. Also on the website, we'll talk about it in a minute, you can find all of the rules for the Winter Games sports. And one of the big things we're stressing right now is concussion training. I know some of you have recently sent them in, so that is great, and I thank you for that. And we have the links right up on the website for all existing coaches. You need to complete this course on the website. It's online. It takes about half an hour, maybe 45 minutes at most. If you can complete that by the end of the year, December 31st, 2015, that would be greatly appreciated. And just email your completed certificate to me, Rachel, p@soct.org. The links are right there, and they're also on our website under the Coaches Corner page. Again, here's where you can find the concussion training. There's one on the CDC website. Click on Youth Sports Coaches, and then you take the free online training. It's called Heads Up for Concussion Training and Youth Sports. Here we have where to find the rules for every specific sport on our homepage. So go to www.soct.org. Under the sports and fitness programs, you click on the Coaches Corner. And once you're on that page, scroll all the way down to the bottom and you will see Special Olympics Connecticut Sports. It is a drop-down box, and once you click on there, you can find all of the coaching guides and the rules for each specific sport.
All right, if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact the sports department staff. Overall games would be Lori Jean Hannon, alpine and snowboarding would be myself, Sarah Pearson. Figure and speed skating is Rachel. Cross country and snowshoes will be Rebecca. Floor hockey is Lauren Young. Gymnastics is Carly Mappa. Curling again is Lauren Young. Traditional basketball is Sue Moore. Volunteers, Katie Femiak. And healthy athletes is Caitlin Dacus. Thank you so much for completing the 2016 Special Olympics Winter Games webinar, and we'll see you with Winter Games.